If only you could smell what I can smell in this small factory in the regional city of Toowoomba in southeast Queensland. It's biscuit brilliance. And they're not just any biscuit, but Anzac biscuits, with a recipe so special it's protected by Legacy Australia, a support group for service veterans and their families. But these Legacy-endorsed Anzacs don't follow the original recipe. They have oats, but not just any kind of oats. They're made with GF oats, or gloriously free oats. Kylie Martin is the founder, and they are as close to being labelled gluten-free as Australian requirements will allow.
I had a recipe I used to make every year with my children. I started playing around with it. I had to make it gluten-free. We weren't using oats. And then I thought, well, there are no oat-based Anzac biscuits on the market. If they're gluten-free and labelled gluten-free, they've got other ingredients.
Kylie's children and family, who are gluten intolerant, were the reason she began investigating gluten-free oat options. She had been supplying flour formulas to the gluten-free market, but in 2007 she learnt about what was called gluten-free oats from the United States.
I had never heard of it. I was excited about it because we ate porridge out on Western Queensland growing up. So I reached out to the company that I found in America, and they were actually the founders of gluten-free oats in America, a family of celiacs. And they had just got themselves preparing for export.
Kylie imported just one pallet of them, about 750 kilos of the packaged product.
So in 2009, we bought the first pallet in, and it barely hit the docks in Brisbane. And people started ringing me saying, you can't call oats gluten-free in Australia.
Oats don't contain gluten, but are often grown in the same paddocks and milled in the same facilities with wheat, rye and barley, things that do contain gluten. Plus, some people who are allergic to gluten are also allergic to the protein avenin in oats, which is similar to, but not the same as gluten. Dr. Kim Faulkner-Hogg is the lead dietitian for Celiac Australia. She says messages around oats are confusing. Celiacs are told to avoid oats, but overseas some oats are labelled gluten-free.
To know that now 90% of people with celiac disease could possibly eat oats if they would like to. So in order to address that, we strongly suggest that people go and see their gastroenterologist and they have a conversation with their medical team about how they could test out whether oats is suitable for them.
Dr. Faulkner-Hogg says clear labelling about oats, specific to Australia, is required to help people navigate confusing terms. Food Standards Australia and New Zealand don't currently regulate a gluten-free category of oats, and there's no legislation requiring it to be tested for any contaminant gluten.
What we would really like to see is this one label for oats for the 90% of people with celiac disease who know that they can actually eat the oats, to come in and find that label on the shelf, and that label means it's been grown correctly and it's been tested so that we have no contact with wheat, rye, barley and oats.
To find how oats can be free of any contaminating gluten from other crops took Landline to Wandering, 2 hours southeast of Perth in Western Australia. Kim Rintoul is a wool producer, but 30% of his operation is dedicated to growing lupins and oats. His oats are free from gluten contamination, and he supplies Kylie Martin with her special ingredient.
She was looking for an Australian grower that had pure oats. At that stage I couldn't flake the oats, I could only de-hull, and I didn't have any luck with any other mills to process it through. So after a few more years we were able to do our first batch and get it off to Kylie.
It's not just about growing the oats in soil free of other crops that contain gluten, but what comes after harvest.
Your machinery is all dedicated to a non-contaminant. It's not going any near any of that material, and from that you have confidence that you are going to provide a product that isn't going to cause an issue. When we do process it, it gets tested up in Perth at laboratories to test for the allergen, and I haven't had any dramas with that.
When Kim started his own mill, it was easier to ensure that there were no gluten contaminants. But it's a lot of work.
So we have to clean down the mill whenever we do that, so that's only in the dehulling section. We go through, clean out the silos, clean out all the grain flows, go through. It takes, over a day to do that all properly. And then, of course, we run a batch through and make sure that that's all clean.
This looks quite official, Kim. What are you looking for here? It looks like you're panning for gold. Like, is that really what you're doing?
Not really, but kind of just to get it right, yeah. We've just got to make sure that if we get this part of the process right, we'll make everything right in that part of the process at the finish.
Kim's oats are packaged under the GF Oats brand in Toowoomba.
We've extended the range from all the different oats. So you've got your traditional, you've got your organics and your quick oats. From there, we've done granolas. We partnered with a company also in Western Australia, not far from our original farm, and they bake all the granolas because we can't bake it here in Toowoomba. There's no one to do it commercially. And then we've got 4 lots of mueslis. We've got our 2 lines of biscuits.
Kylie Martin has teamed up with the local Endeavour Foundation. They support people with disabilities by providing jobs. Through her business, they employ up to 40 people in packaging and distribution.
Ryan Forsyth has been working with Endeavour since January this year. He reckons his job isn't just about earning money.
Not really about the money. I'm not that fussed about money, but I just like to chat here and there around people and get these jobs done.
Greg McLuhan is the Executive General Manager for Endeavour Foundation Work Portfolio, which supports people with disabilities to provide routine and build confidence.
So we do food packaging primarily at this site. So just like any other factory environment, they learn about food safety. So they learn the important skills of how to protect the product, how to protect themselves, and make sure we don't get crossover of allergens and all that sort of stuff to protect product.
There are about 130 people supported by the NDIS and clients like Kylie employed on site. Having consistent work is one thing, but making friends and having a good time is also part of the appeal.
I'm very confident with myself, and I wish I can keep that up and hopefully learn a bit more around, and hopefully probably a bit of something else here and there.
A lot of the problem was cross-contamination. So how do you ensure that you don't have cross-contamination then with your packaging at Endeavour or the making of your Anzac biscuits?
When they go to process our product, from the farm level right through to manufacturing, they have to close that particular manufacturing unit down. Sometimes, like in WA, it takes a whole day to clean that shed out. Then they swab it along the supply chain of that processing to make sure that is no gluten found across any of that supply chain. Here, Endeavour and Mother Meg's, who process our biscuits and our oats, do exactly the same thing.
You've been a bit cheeky with your packaging, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And because I had to find ways of sharing this brand with the people who I knew who wanted it. So they're intolerant, they're not necessarily got the allergy, they're gluten conscious. This is wheat, rye and barley free. So yes, we have been a little bit cheeky, but we've been able to communicate to the people who really want the product.
Is anyone else doing what you're doing in Australia?
There are other companies that are doing it. They can brand their product wheat-free, but wheat-free isn't a term that's actually legislated anywhere. It's just one that's been picked up and thrown around. So you can't say something's gluten-free oats if it's just wheat-free, because you also have the rye and barley problem, which has gluten and it can cross-contaminate.
Farmer Kinrintal is proud of producing oats in Australia with the highest level of care to keep them free of gluten contamination. He says most of the contamination-free oats available in the supermarkets are imported. Different countries have varying standards and allow oats to be labelled gluten-free if they are processed a certain way and test below a specific threshold.
Now, in Australia, we don't have that luxury, but as a farmer, it does annoy you when we're one of the largest exporters of oats in the world, and here we are importing oats for this little market. And there's plenty of growers out there that would be pretty similar to me that would be able to survive, supply this market, and we wouldn't have to be importing American and Canadian and Finnish oats.
What are your plans then for the future?
We'll take on the world, I reckon. We've been doing it for long enough. We're super proud of what we've done for the farmers in WA who believed we've got 2 farmers over there and they can supply us as much as we want. So it's been a fabulous relationship all around.
So yeah, you're going to take over the world?
We'll take over the world, yeah.